Yep, and there goes Bacon, followed by Logic. And we'll get them synchronized up in just a moment here. But for now, we're going to see a couple different divergent things. I believe that was a 3 Crystal Light World. It's already a good start.
Yeah, those are... It's still a 7/7. The only real change is Expert Pool, so we're going to want... Ideally, the most easy of dungeons, and those Light World dungeons tend to be easier than the Dark Worlds, so that's good news for them.
We see a bomb tree pull as well from Tier 2. Tier 1? Tier 2? Shrug.
Should be the initials. Kill one enemy on the sign, yeah.
It's bomb tree indeed. So we're going to see 2 of our runners checking Uncle out first, and the other 2... Actually, Orange might actually have a look at the Lumberjack item as Ravis makes her way into Lost Woods. If you're not familiar with what an item pool modification does to this randomizer, it's exactly as Adler said at the start. The items that our runners will obtain will equate to maximizing out at a total life count of 8 hearts. You won't see any Swords After Master. You won't see any mail upgrades. You're only going to have a fighter shield, and you can't buy any bomb or arrow capacity upgrades from the Waterfall of Happiness. The Pond of Happiness.
We are seeing a good number of heart pieces already. I think 2 or 3 of our runners are probably close to their 4th heart. You'll get those... the way it works out is you'll get those hearts and heart pieces in about the same rate you would normally, and then once you actually hit the cap, it'll start converting them into those green 20s. Anytime you see a green 20 pop up, that means it was an item that was in the pool that you're not allowed to have based on that difficulty, so it got changed into just money.
And that means visible items as well. So if you see a heart container on Desert Ledge, but you can't get back to it till later, it turns into a green 20 once you have your 8th heart. That's an early Moon Pearl in Blind's Hut and a Quake Medallion. That could be telling us some early Dark World shenanigans here to start off this race.
Yeah, 1 piece of our Dark World access. We'll have to see if we get a couple of gloves and a hammer pretty early here. Early Dark World access in Expert Pool, maybe not the best news for our runners here, if they're not as experienced with dealing with these kind of low percent settings.
Of course, Ravis is going to be the first runner to give us a look at what's inside Kakariko Well. And Logic has already passed on a piece of heart. We know we're going to see a bunch more of them, and then they'll dry up and just become money. It's not uncommon to see 2,000 rupees in this mode.
Not like we're even having trouble with money already. Ravis already has just over 600. It's still counting up. We've got most of what we need for the seed already. Oh, 700. I'm sorry. That's a lot.
Well, that's got some logical implications right there. There's your lamp on the bottle vendor.
I don't think anyone's going to complain about an early lamp in Expert Pool. Considering some of those dark rooms can be tricky to navigate, and if you're bumping into enemies and taking full damage, even just a couple of hits will knock you back to the entrance of the dungeon.
So far, no actual permanent weapons other than the bombs. So we're going to have to either... Well, I spoke a little bit too soon, because Raven's just unearthed a bow.
I waited just about 3 more seconds.
With the bow, that means Eastern Palace already, fully in logic for our runners here.
Yep, 1 bow, 1 lamp, that's all you need, and we could see an early play over there, especially with them all being crystals. Yeah, entirely feasible. Reskin's another heart, so nothing worth grabbing there. Like I said, you'll probably pick up those heart pieces later on from checking things you can't see what they are. You'll get it anyway, sooner or later.
So Ravis is going to bypass escape even with the bow. I can't really blame him. Right now he doesn't have any arrows. So he's going to go off to South Shore.
And Logic and Floppy Bacon are still catching up here. Bacon's about to get that news that I think it's just a Bligger Rupee on library. Or no, 10 arrows. Yeah, nothing exciting.
And not any more excitement in the race game either, because it's just a piece of heart. But yeah, Bacon's going to drop down and check it, and he will be happy to have done so.
Ravis has our one and only shield that will be allowed in the dam chest.
Yeah, we can block rocks and spears and stuff, and nothing else.
I mean, to be fair, that little shield can save you if you're fake flippering and the to hobo and the guard wants to take a shot at you. That can save your life. It looks like Bacon's going to head on over and be our first. No, actually, I'm sorry, second to Eastern. Orange is already at Sahasrahla. Blue potion, not a bad find.
And because the modifier is item pool, that blue potion is still going to give you a full magic bar and a full heal, which is going to be very nice.
That magic bar in particular, if we end up finding some invulnerability items, the Cape and Burna will be especially helpful in this mode.
Time to see what we have in Mini Moldorm Cave. Just 20 rupees. Our first stun item in the blue boomerang. Have a look at the stun prize, if that might be something of safety here. In our second bottle, a red potion filled in that one.
Yeah, 2 bottles available in the early game. Not complaining. Yeah, the number of bottles you get is not limited, so you still are able to collect up to all 4 of those.
And that early bug net's actually nice to find in this situation as well. A lot of the late game Dark World stuff does a ton of damage to Greenmail. So having the ability to catch fairies if you feel like you need that extra bit of safety, that helps.
Yeah, even on 8 hearts, you can see half of them just completely evaporate with just 1 hit from later Dark World enemies. So having those automatic revives when you're kind of tough, not saying, oh, do I heal? I've got like 4 hearts left. You don't know whether you should heal. Maybe you should.
Now, Ravis with the Moon Pearl. Do you think he makes a fake flipper play here? Just break a little bit of logic?
I know I would.
As Orange makes his way through parts of Eastern with Floppy Bacon a screen or 2 behind. And Logic's now in South Shore.
Ravis is this one crab has wandered way far south than it usually goes, but yeah, it looks like Ravis is heading over down to the transition to do our fake flipper, indeed. Gonna do the bomb setup for it. Perfectly done.
So Ravis is going to be able to collect Hobo, and with the Waterfall being open with the Moon Pearl to just walk in, he's got a couple choices. The one thing he can't do is that there's an item on Zora's Ledge. We do not have the equipment right now to splash delete, because while he has a bow, he still doesn't have any arrows.
Yeah, unless we get lucky and find some on Hobo or in Waterfall, that's not happening now.
Well, arrows are probably the last thing you want to find when you make this kind of sequence break.
You're hoping to find something really good, like a hammer or some area or something you'll need later.
Logic getting nipped by a mini Moldorm, knocked into the pit, and then takes an extra heart of damage from his bomb explosion. He's going back to the house.
Got comboed there. Ravis found just a heart piece on Hobo, so nothing exciting there.
Now, Orange coming up on the big key location for Eastern Palace, and of course, Bacon right behind. Vanilla big key, of course.
We do, yeah.
I think Eastern is the one dungeon I usually see that the most in.
Both of those two getting the nice 2-hit damage boost to the button. Waterfall Cave has a nice item. That's our flute.
And that flute, out of logic behind the flippers. And we still don't know whether or not Myra is going to turn out to be a pendant or a crystal for us here. All in all, a very good, just general movement item to pick up for Ravis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would not be surprised we see them go right back to Sanctuary over to Kakariko. You can pick up that and get the Lazy Kid check as well.
All right, so far still not much happening in Eastern Palace. The big chest only having a map, meaning our third item is going to be on Armos Knights.
And Zora today has a 90% scam. Orange having a little bit of trouble with the Moldorm quick kill, but he's got the probably got this on recovery pretty well.
Yeah, he'll just take the last one down, and there it is, Armos Knights for a heart container.
Is this even random?
Gee, boss heart on a boss. Who would have thunk it?
Floppy Bacon right behind him as we have our Hyrulean national anthem on Ravis' side.
So, correct me if I'm wrong here. That means the only things we really have logically now are Escape and Agina.
Yeah, I believe so. The flute puts us up on. The flute is out of logic. I mean, Ravis will probably go up to the mountain. Ooh, half magic on Lazy Kid. Nice. That's very good for this expert pool. Because again, if they find those invulnerability items, that'll give them a lot more survivability. But yeah, as far as logic goes, we're looking at Castle and Agina.
Of course, Ravis having sequence broken the flute, he's just going to keep on the. What is logic? Logic is merely a suggestion, right? So he's up the mountain. This is normally locked by a glove or a flute. The flute, of course, we obtained out of logic. So anything that he gets up here, including that fall in the pit, is out of sequence.
Yeah, an early flute definitely could lead to something big here. There's not a lot on the mountain they can check, but it could be something crucial. Like the hammer.
Well, that is a very nice item to see here. And I would almost think that's telling us that we have a mirror or... No, not even a mirror. Like a glove can't be too far behind.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain about a mirror either. A mirror actually puts us on top of the mountain. We can go over to the east side and get all those items too. But that is one step closer to Dark World. We just need a glove.
So Logic was just attempting to fake Flipper. They got the piece of heart off Hobo, and then they swirled around that whirlpool, and the Zora sniped him.
Yep, that'll happen. And because it's the change in rando they make is that when you're fake flippering, if you take damage, it's just a one-hit KO compared to the vanilla game, which will put you in a perpetual soft lock if you take damage while fake flippering.
Now for Ravis here, that hammer is a permanent weapon. He's going straight to escape. After he checks with Uncle, of course.
A bad idea. You've got you got 6 checks in there to make, 4 items, a couple in the castle secret here. Yeah, you just pretty much need a weapon because it's hard to get past all the guards when all you've got is bombs.
Now, I wouldn't put bomb escape past anybody because if you know how to do it and the boomerang kind of helps with it, there's nothing wrong with it.
Especially when the seed has still not given us any... Oh, there's some arrows. Okay.
Bacon is dancing with the sand crab. It's only going to see a piece of heart in Ice Rod Cave. That's okay. Alright, now Logic is making their way over to Eastern Palace. And Orange is going to go take the fake flipper. I wouldn't imagine that Bacon is going to be right behind him as well. So Logic making the attempt to the sequence break, not getting there, that's going to set him back a little bit.
Yeah, and Bacon and Orange have been pretty much in relative lockstep this whole race so far. They're not that far apart from each other.
This is our first look into Escape, so let's see what it has for us. And that sewer key actually puts the front in Logic because it's going to assume that that guard key someone's going to swipe and take to the back, locking you out of the front.
Yep, to make sure the game's completable, the Logic has to assume that every runner will do the worst possible decisions with their keys. So they've got to all be accessible they'll be accessible. That's just all there is to it. Oh,
And
there's
there it is.
green 20.
Our first green 20.
Considering we
And-
still have we're still at 5 hearts there. That's most likely, I would call that an armor upgrade. Either that or the other bow.
I'd almost call it a shield.
Or a shield, that is also a possibility.
Ravis setting up the death warp here. Take down the ball and chain guard, drop a bomb, and call it good.
That'll net us a big 20. Bacon and Orange completing their Fate Flipper journey up to the Zora area, getting their flute, and soon enough the 90% scam bad news.
And they are 2 runners also on 6 hearts at this point. We've seen Ravis pass on a few pieces of heart early on. You're going to run into them eventually anyway, so that's really not a bad decision to make. I love how the ropes just parted like the sea for him there.
Yeah, sometimes you get a crazy lucky pattern and can just scoot right through them in that room. Ooh, that's a glove.
There
That's
it
Dark
is.
World.
And that glove puts the hammer in logic. So now Ravis is going to have the option to decide whether to step into the Dark World or not in just a moment. It also puts Zora in logic for that 20 rupee scam, but we're still looking for the flippers.
Yeah, not quite in logic on the flute just yet. We'll see, I think, 2 more items. Yeah, they don't have the map, actually, so there's going to be 2 items and a map in the back of Escape.
If he's really lucky, it'll be the 3rd chest he opens, and he'll just be able to save and quit without touching it. Well, also, if he's really lucky, the 3rd chest that he opens will be a sword.
We'll call that a very worthwhile trip. That is the one of 2 swords they will have. They'll max it at Master, but still not going to complain.
And that's flutes for Orange and Bacon. So I'd imagine they're probably going to make a similar play here. And Ravis opting to go straight to the Dark World south of Link's house. So Chet, we're coming up on one of our favorite historical spots for items.
It's like we got Pendant, Pod, and Swamp. I think the 3rd pendant was Thieves. I didn't quite catch it.
It was indeed, and that means we're going to need to see a Cane of Samaria. That flute's going to be required. And the flippers are logically required to get to the flute, so they'll show up for both that and for Ice Palace.
That's even a green Thieves Town, no less. Green Thieves Town is that dungeon and I have a relationship, and that means I clear it no matter what. Hype Cave with a
Hello.
2nd glove and a hook shot.
Ooh,
That's
that
actual hype for once. I've got to give that I got to give it an 8. That's really solid.
It's not every day you see 2 major items that you need to complete the seed in Hype Cave. In this case, there's 2 of the more oh hello. Bacon made the play to go to Agina and gets a mirror, and Orange, stride for stride right behind him, he's going to have a mirror as well.
Yeah, not seeing just one runner making it out there in this early game, but 2 of them no less. That mirror will be good to have. They're going to need that for... Well, they don't need it for Swamp, but we all know what Pendant Swamp means.
And the green 20s continue to fly for Ravis. Logic has dispatched Armos Knights and has his first crystal. So
Orange is now
and,
heading for Escape, yeah.
Orange and Bacon opting to stay in Logic despite the flute. They're going to get their glove out of Dark Cross.
I think it's not a bad play because the mountain doesn't have a lot to offer. There are only two checks available. 1 you can look at, 2 you can get. So it's you'd rather take all the items that you can actually obtain in a more dense location at this point. How many digs? I actually wasn't keeping track. We're gonna be closing in on 30 here, I think.
I was just thinking, I wasn't counting, and I'm like, oh god, this is a lot of digs.
Yeah, that was about 26, 27, somewhere in that range for a pack of bombs. But they'll take it. They weren't full up.
Logic, having not gotten the flute, they are going to follow their namesake and go into castle, and again, they will get a glove, which will lead them to a hammer.
It'll be interesting when actually if Bacon and Orange, once they're in their Dark World, if they did the same route, having the mirror, they could actually pick up the Smith right off the bat with those two gloves in the mirror. You might see an early Smith chain, actually.
Interestingly, Ravis opted to do hammer pegs before anything else in Village of Outcasts. And just a red 20.
Maybe looking for a little more equipment, hoping for another sword, maybe a good reason to put off Pendant Thieves Town. So there are a few justifications for that, I guess. Could also just be that it was the closest thing to do coming into the village.
There's any number of reasons why you'd want to put off Pendant Thieves Town. You would have to death warp out of the front if you don't have a mirror. In this case, Ravis does not. So either he's going to go see it through, or he's going to just let the Zazzix have their way with him. If he dips in.
I think we at least see a dip in for the top four. That's relatively common if he, even if not trying to do the whole dungeon.
In a dungeon like Pendant Thieves is weird, because even though it's a pendant, depending on how many items you see in the front of it, you might be incentivized to just go ahead and do it anyway.
Did Floppy Bacon just... I might be going to just doing the glove to a back of the scape. Okay.
Yeah, he's skipping the room with the key rat.
Yeah, that's
there's... Fair. Hey, we can read!
We have literacy, a book in the chest game. It gives us, with our current items, a... Ravis now can access desert, though we know with our current items that book is not necessarily needed to get into desert.
The other thing it allows us to do, if we find our Master Sword and there happens to be progression on a tablet, we can't collect it without the book.
Alright, so Thieves Town. This is where the dungeons start getting a little bit mean in terms of damage they'll deal to you. You expect enemies in here to deal about 2 hearts on average. I think the bugs in the attic, I want to say they deal 3 hearts on green mail. Am I correct on that?
I think so. Of course, he just gets a fairy in a bottle. That is not an uncomfortable situation to be in, picking one of those up on the fly instead of having to catch your own.
Yeah, it kind of messes up your ability to death warp, but you've got the flute, you can get back there fairly quickly. You'd rather save that fairy, I think, in this sort of expert pool situation. Bacon's made it up onto the mountain, got their hammer, and Orange has now acquired a sword out of the back of Escape. And looks like he'll be fluting up to get his hammer as well. I'm still wondering where the logic is here, because we're still missing flippers. Like, all 4 of our runners are out of logic at this point with getting the Dark World. I'm like, where are our flippers?
Well, not necessarily, because Glove and Lamp lead you to Mountain for Hammer, with already having a Glove and a Moon Pearl.
Oh, right, we did get that glove based on... It was... Yeah, okay, the glove was not dependent on that. You're correct, okay.
It's the flute that brings us to the Mire area is the play that we're seeing out of logic, and Ravis is going to check Mire Shed. We also did see that the entry for Misery Mire is Quake. It was one of the first few items that we actually obtained, so that could be time to tell you something.
And with the mirror that is on Bacon and Orange's side, we're actually seeing a peek into Hera here. Full heart in the map. I think, no, that's the map chest. Yep. for a 7th heart on Bacon's side, almost capped out.
Now, Ravis is on the east side of Death Mountain for Paradox Cave. Good density of checks available to him here. Between this and doing the dark side of the mountain, it's in the teens. It's a pretty good number.
It looks like we saw the big key in the basement cage. So if we're lucky here, Moldorm or the big chest or the small chest here will have the other item. There's the key. We don't want to see that.
Bacon's going to set up for this Hera bomb jump to skip going upstairs and falling down.
Bit of a tricky jump. If you don't get it right, you get to fall 2 floors. Well, that was our other item, as disappointing as it may be, just being a green 20. But they can go straight to Moldorm.
And Ravis, the first runner on stream, with 8 hearts. Every piece of heart that he's passed is now a green 20.
Puts a ton of extra money in the pool. As if these runners didn't have enough money already, they're going to be absolutely loaded, which will be good when it comes time to start buying potions to fill. I think we've had 3 bottles total, actually, so they'll have plenty of cash for them.
And we're seeing Logic's never made it to Zora, sitting on 1104. All right, and that is Moldorm done and out of the way with a few whacks of the hammer for Floppy Bacon. But Ravis is right on his tail.
So actually, I spoke a little bit incorrectly again when I said that Logic actually has not done the fake flipper to Waterfall to get the flute. So they are entirely in Logic still, following, as their name might suggest, just following the logic, playing the seed as it's given to them, which will work out just fine. So you're definitely going to need that glove and that hammer anyway. You're going to get them in a nice progression here.
So remember how we were talking about how you might want your invincibility items? Remember how I was talking about how you need a Master Sword to collect items on tablets?
Oh, I missed that. Was one of them up there?
Mm-hmm. Use this to become invincible.
So invincible is the hint for Berna. If you ever see invisible, that's the hint for the cape.
So we know where Arcana Berna is. In this situation, you might actually prefer the cape, especially knowing you have half magic, so it's not actually that thirsty for your magic meter. Whereas Berna gives you the invulnerability, but is strictly a lag machine.
It is both laggy, and it takes away your ability to do sword spins, which on certain bosses, like Vitreous, you might really want those, especially with just Master Sword. Ravis is getting a little wiggle here, trying to find the exact right position for the Herapot. Might be giving up on it. Yep. Sometimes those subpixels can be mean and not letting you get to exactly where you want to be.
I would have been happy to see. It's one of the first few times I've actually seen a restream where somebody did the one bomb setup for the Herapot. Without using the second row.
Yeah, that's it's unusual to see that setup. I myself like to use both the rows for positioning. That's what I'm comfortable with, but it can still get subpixeled every now and then.
So Ravis has the check step in the light world here, but having already completed Hera, Bacon and Orange are going to have to leave the east side of Death Mountain because they have not yet been to Hype Cave.
Yep, they have dodged their unknowingly dodged their Titanment in Hype Cave. It looks like Floppy Bacon may be checking it out right now.
And Logic is already there and has a mitt and a hook shot. Another thing we didn't mention is we have 5-6 crystals on Ice Palace and Skull Woods, so Pyramid Fairy can't have a Fire Rod today.
True that. You could see Bombos be the kind of logical entry requirement for Ice Palace, but the back of Skullwood strictly needs that a Fire Rod.
And we will get Spiral Cave from Orange. And Ravis, again, right behind him. I would almost say in front of him, because he's going to have the ability to go and check Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny.
Yeah, this is definitely a really quality mountain trip. Ravis will get all 8 checks from Spiral and Paradox, and then straight into the Dark World. They could actually do it from the Turtle Rock portal, which is quite ideal. They'll get the information on that medallion needed, and be able to go right down the fast way into Super Bunny. Chat's already theorizing on the quality of these checks here. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'll get into a camp here. Sure, let's call Hookshot Cave a complete bust, and maybe one of the 2 rods in Super Bunny. Let's go with that.
I don't know. I'm feeling going for a swim.
Yeah, logically we do want those flippers. They've put the flute in the Waterfall Cave, and it wants us to have those flippers for Ice Palace. We know we don't need them, but the game says we need them, so we might get them.
And now Orange is going to be the first of our runners to have a look in Skull Woods. Again, not having gone to Hype Cave yet.
Still putting it off, but I'd imagine he'll make that trip of the kind of South Dark World loop not too long here.
And we do see the money still piling on, of course, as we expected. Floppy over 1,000 rupees. Orange back over 1,000. Ravis only at 763, but he's kept himself busy for sure.
That looks like I saw a Bombos there. So actually, I was wrong. They weren't able to use the TR portal because I forgot they do not have their mirror yet, but they at least do know what that requirement is.
There's that early Smith chain you were talking about.
Bombsmiths, crafting some explosives. There's an ether in Hookshot Cave, not one of our required medallions. I don't know if you noted it or if you said anything about it. But yeah, we did have Meyer was Quake, so that early Quake medallion we found will get us into a required dungeon. There is making good use of the hook shot to dodge the damage from these Lionels. They will hit you, I think, for 3 hearts on Greenmail with the projectiles.
Yeah, this is a treacherous little walk here, going over to the west side of Dartgath Mountain. Those Lionels don't like to leave you alone. And now Ravis, with both a red potion and a fairy, will get to do Spike Cave.
This is out of logic as far as what the game expects you to do. It wants you to have invulnerability for this. Oh, it's a fairy, isn't it? Not a red potion.
He has both.
Ooh, both. Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah, so this is
actually,
fine.
I would think that
14 hearts, I think, is what you need to reliably do this.
Which is why in Expert it looks for either an invincibility item or a way to extend your life or magic. Either with a potion or with a fairy. Of course, it's all for Moo because it was just 10 arrows.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so be it.
So we have some interesting options. We have some uncomfortable options. We've got Desert Palace is open. You can step into Mire. You can go to Pod. Speak of. Oh, he's never done Easter. And without a mirror, you have to walk up here. You can't just open it on the dark side and then mirror back and check Easter when you're done.
And Etnar in chat has pointed out, I think we both missed it. We were watching we were both watching Ravis. Orange found a Master Sword in Skull Woods.
Orange and Logic both on Master Sword here. Good stuff. Yeah, big shout-outs to our trackers tonight, Etnar and Velity. They're keeping an eye on things. If we happen to miss something, they're pressing the buttons. Chat can ask them questions, because Adalor and I will miss them. I promise.
They're doing a better job than us for sure. They only have to pay attention to 2 screens each. We got all 4. We're likely to miss something. It's going to happen.
Tunnel vision is real, too, when you've got one person doing something different than everyone else. You're like, ooh, this is new and exciting.
Oh yeah, because we've already seen part of Thieves Town and Skullwoods, and actually I think we've already seen Eastern too. So right now, yeah, nothing new. Unless we see either Floppy Bacon or Orange dip into the back of Thieves Town.
I wouldn't put it past either of them, although I think Orange with one heart is probably fixing to not do that. Although I believe it was a fairy bottle that was here in the big key chest.
Yes,
So,
he's about to acquire that fairy, so he may just end up using that right away.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if you see it through, just because, as we stated before, Thieves Town is a green pendant. And that was only 2 items in the front, and we can get everything else out of it, and we can turn in the green pendant for a 3rd item.
Yeah, he's going to take the red potion heal, save the fairy, and that seems like a solid plan to me.
Yep, because not knowing whether or not you're going to see the other invincibility item in the back 2 of Thieves Town, you might actually be able to use that on blind. With a blue potion in his holster, Orange is in a comfortable situation.
Especially being a runner that will no doubt be able to pull off the blind script, or at least most of it. That blind script makes this fight really trivial. As long as you can get all those hits in without deviating, you don't have to worry about taking any damage whatsoever.
Said the word deviating, and now we have Bacon taking our first look into Desert Palace, which is not Boots Lock today.
Map on the torch, or some like to call it the burrito being on the warmer.
It sounds much more appetizing than a dusty burrito in the library in Keysanity modes.
No one knows how long that burrito's been there. You probably don't want to touch it.
So I'm seeing a question in chat. If you're just joining us 37 minutes into this race, Expert Pool removes heart containers, swords, shields, mail upgrades, down so that our runners can only have a maximum of 8 hearts. They're going to have green mail for the duration of the run. They're going to be stuck on no greater than Master Sword. You aren't going to see a second bow. There's no silver arrows. And Fighter Shield.
Anything else that they are not allowed to get by the pool settings, you'll see, especially more and more as this drags on, I think almost all of our runners are at 8 hearts, which again is the cap. Anytime you see a green 20 pop out of a chest, that is an item that has been turned into money that they are not allowed to have.
And if you think this sounds gross, try playing it, because if you're not familiar with a Master Sword Silverless Ganon, it's a very punishing way to end your run.
Ravis here is headed into our Armos fight. They're going to set up for the quick kill. While Orange is down to the Maiden, finds a Bombos. There's our last medallion. We're going to need that for Turtle Rock.
Oh, that means at least going into the back of Thieves Town is required for this seed. Because that was only item number 3.
And that's the last item in the big chest. Looks like Orange is going to go ahead and close it out, though, because, again, this is Green Pendant Thieves. So it does have kind of a potential value of one more item coming from that pendant turn-in.
All right, we do see that Bacon is taking on the Lamulus fight. Unfortunately, the frames have gone missing, but with this equipment, this fight's going to take a little bit of extra time anyway. Usually you'll see your runners want to use an ice rod or a fire rod. Or, we've seen Bacon utilizing the bow. It's NMG strats right there for you. And Lamulus, by far, probably the hardest single boss fight in the NMG race category.
Oh, absolutely. That fight, you come in with just a fighter sword and a bow, and that's pretty much all you got. Unless you take the slower trip out to get the ice rod, which can help if you're not comfortable with that fight, but it does cost you some time. Meanwhile, on Orange's screen, didn't get quite the perfect blind script, but still pulled it off without getting hit. Still executed very well, despite missing the actual script of the fight itself.
So Bacon must not have seen the other item because he has gone back in. And if Lamulus dropped something, we didn't see it.
Yeah, there was a ton of lag. We didn't get to see it.
The drop was frames being said in chat, you know?
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Alright, Rave is still mirrorless. Of course, the mirror is just a routing option for the seed at this point. He's going to step Independent Pod, which is also notorious for having all sorts of goodies in these runs.
Boots are in Checkerboard Cave.
Oh my, that's a spot for those, isn't it?
Not strictly required as far as we know. There's another spot that we could find them necessary for, but we'll get to that later. But they'll still be very useful for getting around the world fast.
Oh, now Logic's got the smarts, and they're gone back for the Ether Tablet to pick up a Cane of Burna. And this costs a little bit of time to climb back up here, but that's not a bad item to pick up in this mode.
Yeah, a little bit. And they've got other things to do up here. Like they've got to go into Hera here still. So that's there's Samaria on the pod arena bridge.
Boy.
We're going to need that for Meyer.
That's 2 pendant dungeons with required progression. And of all the items to see for required progression here, that is possibly the one you want to find as early as you can.
Yeah, it really opens up. Obviously it opens up 2 whole dungeons in this case, as far as being able to complete them, Meyer and Turtle Rock. It also gives us a much more favorable route through Ice Palace, which is also required.
There's a few other things you can do with everyone's favorite glitch stick. Speaking of Meyer, you're not seeing a lot of it, but Bacon is there as we speak. And unfortunately, we know he's not going to see a cane in Meyer, so 1 or 2 items and then he's out.
Yep, he'll find himself stuck in that dungeon sooner or later, not able to get down to the actual boss, or down through the basement, past the button.
Oh, but he'll be doing it faster because the boots are absolutely, as far as we know, optional in this case, and locked behind yet another optional item for the seat in the mirror.
Yeah, we've seen a bunch of items so far that have been not required, but definitely helpful. On the realm of required items, or just finally gotten down to Hype Cave, gotten their mitts and hookshot, getting caught up with the other 3. It's been a very interesting seed so far. We've got 4 runners in 4 different locations. Orange might be. No, we can't go to Swamp just yet. It looks like he's going to go for a Bombo's Tablet, maybe.
See, and now this is exactly the thing we're talking about. Earlier, that Floop went in Logic behind Flippers. We still haven't found the Flippers. And now Ravis knows that there is a key in the big key chest, so he is going to be able to just go right on through here, but he's going to have to walk out. Oh, there's a fire rod. Now we can talk about Ice Palace.
Yep, we're going to need that for later. Yeah, so that does get us into Ice Palace. Finally, we have not quite logical access. Those flippers are still on the loose, but I don't think anyone really cares. They're going to go in whether they're going to want to go in there, and they're going to do it.
I said it when he walked in. Pendant Pod, notorious for having all kinds of goodies, and it pays off today.
One of my races recently, I had Pendant Pod had 4 items in it. I bailed out after 2. That was a mistake.
It'll be yet to be seen whether or not bailing out without killing Helmasaur was a mistake. It does look like Ravis is going to go make the play to Ice Palace with a fake flipper.
They don't have their Master Sword yet, but it's not too bad. You've got the hookshot is actually a fantastic weapon in Ice Palace. There are a lot of enemies that can be one-shotted with it, not excluding these the berries of both blue and red color, and the pen gators, which tend to pop up a lot in this dungeon.
So there's one other thing that can insta-kill the pen gators that isn't a bomb, a gold sword, a tempered spin. And Ravis is going to utilize the Quake Medallion, which you don't see every day. As long as they're on the ground or in that toboggan state, you're going to be able to just nuke them all with one swirl of your sword.
Yep, they're one of those few enemies that doesn't get turned into a yellow blob when you hit them with the Quake Medallion. So, pen gators, notorious enemies for being kind of resistant to some damage types, but they've got their weaknesses still. And we're going to see a icebreaker being handled nicely done. Just a few buffers, and we are through the wall.
All right, Orange is going to go fight Lamulus. Bacon is chasing East Death Mountain again with the hookshot, going onto the dark side here, which is where Logic is at the moment.
Getting their news that TR is the Bombus Medallion, which they'll be able to find sooner or later here.
That's already 2 items in Ice Palace.
There's the big key, about as late as it can be. Our last item here should be either in the big chest itself or... Yep, there it is. That's 3.
And that means Ravis is going to take a trip all the way down to Cold Stare.
We do get to see from Orange's side that we did not have an item drop on the land mows. It was just the compass. Ravis getting into our Cold Stare fight. Half magic makes this not bad. You can use half a bar to get the ice down, and then splash as many fire rod shots into the puffs as you can. And they're going to opt to use that blue potion for a magic refill and continue combat with the very safe option of fire rod across the room.
It's my favorite way to kill Cold Stare, is just burn them dead.
That's our second crystal for Ravis at 48.5 minutes.
Actually, his third.
Is it 3? Oh, for some reason the hair icon was invisible to me. My apologies, it is indeed 3.
And Orange has gone to Checkerboard Cave and picked up his boots. Now, we did see Bacon was in the area of Bonk Rocks, but we did not see him walk in because we are having issues with frames.
Sloppy Bacon has opted to emulate this game in PowerPoint today. Ravis is going to say, hey, I've got a ton of money. Let's go stock up on blue potions. It's a fantastic idea.
That's honestly not a bad idea.
You've got the flute, you've got the money, you may as well. Especially if you're just saving quit, you're about to flute somewhere else, take a little pit stop. And one of our trackers, Veldy, asking, real question is where those flippers are. We don't know yet. We still haven't seen those flippers. They are continuing to elude us. Itanar theorizing King's Tomb. We're going to get a look at that shortly here, actually.
We're going to see Skullwoods from Ravis. Now, I wouldn't be surprised for him to just check the one up front here, that he goes straight to the back.
Yeah, when you've got that fire rod, it's not uncommon to see a play go straight to the back of the dungeon. You just kind of work your way forwards until you find 2 items, then you know you're done.
Well, I stand corrected because here he is going left, do the loop down, and of course the big key. So he'll check the chests, which we know isn't anything helpful here.
Now, the advantage of doing it this way, though, we know Ravis will be finding the Master Sword, which will be very good for them to have before fighting Mothula.
Indeed it will. Master Sword itself is a /2 type of damage. You can spin to do tempers. And with half magic fire rod, that fight's a little bit safer than it sounds on paper.
And it has a little bit more reach, too, compared to the fighter sword. So altogether, very good upgrade.
Now, he thought about leaving and going straight to the back, and then he remembered, hey, I have this. I have the big key, so let's check this chest and get a key. We're getting some right calls here from Orange and Bacon. They're both either going to or at pod as we speak. No logic. If I had $1 for every time I picked up that key and went to the wrong pot to do it, I would have more money than I'd like to have bet.
You could build a career on that.
Well, I'm not that bad.
No, not quite that bad. I've done it a few times myself. I forget which room I'm in, and I go to the wrong corner, and I'm like, wait a second. Is pot shuffle on? Where did the key go?
Of course, with Master Sword, this is a little bit nicer of a fight for logic, because those spins will do tempered sword damage, and each Lamellus head has 4 of those in it, but pulled out the bow. Going to take a few shots here, try to soften them a little bit more, too, before resorting to that.
Yeah, I think it's, 4 normal arrows for each landmo?
Yeah, I think they do the same damage type. That sounds right. And we're going to see Mothula from Ravis. So I would expect to see a whole lot of Fire Rod going on here.
Ravis is actually going to opt for Hammer. It does have a shorter reach, but it does tempered sword damage and only takes a few hits of that, and Moth is done. Ooh, you got a glimpse of the tease of that's where the other bow was. That's rude, actually.
One of our trackers asking, is Ravis an ice rod from Go mode? The answer to that is no. He has not yet picked up Bombos Medallion. Of course, we saw that in the maiden chest of Thieves Town. Of course, Ravis opted to dip out of Thieves Town, so it's going to be some time to see whether he decides to go back.
Yep, they'll have to return at some point here. Logic has finally made their way to Agnes Cave, picked up their mirror. Optional, but very nice to have.
I don't think he was very happy to see that mirror, judging by how many slashes that wall just took.
I don't know, he just got that Master Sword pretty recently. Maybe he's just exercising it. Making sure it works. You wouldn't want to pick up a sword and find out later it doesn't work. Meanwhile, Ravis' Scream, we've got a right away, as soon as it's available, play on the Pyramid Fairy.
So we know what Pyramid Fairy can't have. We know it doesn't have the mirror, the boots, the flippers, the bombos. So what could it have here?
If we're lucky, it could have an ice rod.
Wouldn't that be the best case scenario? If we're unlucky, it could be a mushroom or a shovel.
I have to defend myself from the chat for a moment. I would absolutely download a sword, 100%.
But would you download the sword?
The one and only.
The Master Sword?
Is there any other sword?
Well, you could have a butter sword. Oh, who called it? That is the ice rod in Pyramid Fairy.
Who's the witch?
Adlor, you're starting to show me up.
Well, you got to start calling items and being correct about it more often than me.
So Ravis is going to take this play all the way up to Catfish, because if you don't do this now, Catfish is not a very fun location to go back to at any point in the run. Of course, now the only thing keeping Ravis out of Turtle Rock is that Bombos medallion. So yeah, that puts us in no mode.
Yep, we know where all our items are to complete the game. It's just a matter of convincing our runners through telepathy alone to go to the right locations to actually acquire them.
Now, I'll be, if they're flippers on Catfish this whole time,
I've seen it. It's possible.
like him and Zora trade places every once in a while. It's just 10 arrows, though. At this point, I'm almost expecting to see... Heck, I don't know.
Yeah, because they're not in Thieves Town. We've seen everything in there. Skullwoods is clear. They can't be in Swamp. I'm pretty sure Pod is clear. I don't know if we actually saw all 5 items out of it.
I don't think anyone went to Helma. Now, that's an interesting technicality, and our flippers can't be in GT because the logic will expect you to have the flippers to get into Ice Palace, regardless of being able to fake flip it. And the logic doesn't look at little glitches like that. It's going to expect you, expert referring only to the item pool, nothing else. I want to talk about the minor glitches setting that you can write in a mystery file. That you usually only see utilized in multi-world play, not organized play like this.
Got Orange making their dip into Ice Palace, having a little bit of trouble getting the Icebreaker. There's a third try. That'll do it.
And we see Bacon decided, with these pendants so easy to get to except for Swamp right now, what could be on the pedestal?
It
Nothing.
was just a couch.
And we see 20 rupees on the Bombos tablet as well. Yes, the mirror was on Agina's cave. And just chilling out with the old man in the desert. Of course, mirror in this case is optional. Once again, we don't need it to complete the seed, because Swamp is a pendant. And it hasn't unlocked anything for us here either.
Nope, we know for sure at this point that all the pendants are both collectively and by themselves worthless. We saw a little bit ago the green pendant turn in to Hasrla was the single arrow of destiny.
So worst case scenario here is the only item that we've gotten from the mirror is Pegasus Boots, right? As we see Bacon picking up their Master Sword.
Yep, we had Pegasus Boots in Checkerboard Cave, and yeah, those aren't even required as far as we know. There's a 1 in 22 chance, but we're not counting on that.
I would say that's the worst case scenario here.
It certainly would make for a spicy twist to this race.
Ravis says, I wouldn't like to buy that for $1, as he picks up the single rupee from the map chest? Compass chest? I don't remember.
I always think I know which one is which, and then I say it, and I'm usually wrong, so I'm not going to say anything.
There's our big key in the lobby. That's not a bad spot for that. So this is going to be an interesting Vitreous fight for Ravis, is it not?
Yeah, it looks like they've only got... I wasn't keeping track of my items. It looks like they've only got one, because they're going up for the vanilla big key chest here. Going to pay the price of about 14 or 17 seconds, something like that, for this chest.
I think it's 17. I know I had a commentator and I actually timed this out in an SMZ3 race. Just we were debating which one is slower, Pod or Meyer. Well, it turns out they're the same speed, and I believe they're about 17 seconds.
Yep, that was 17 seconds. Yep. Yeah, the Meyer one definitely feels longer because you don't get to see anything moving while it's happening, but yeah, they are the same length, turns out.
And now with the map, Ravis can find his way through Misery Mire.
Find his way to the other checks to hopefully get the other item before going to Vitreous. Orange has finished off Ice Palace, got that crystal. That's going to put him up to 4 crystals.
And right behind him is Bacon, who just completed an icebreaker and is now going to fall on down.
Find those bombs and some more green 20s on their way down to finish out the 3 items from Ice Palace. And it looks like our second item is either in Meyer in the big chest or on Vitreous himself.
Oh, I stand corrected. I guess you can buy upgrades from the upgrade fairy in this mode.
Oh, interesting.
And Orange is opting to buy as many arrows as he wishes here.
Unique item in Meyer, the 10 bomb pickup in the big chest. So that is 2. We are heading down to the boss. Yeah, I'm going to guess that the table that's on the website is most likely still for when we had the upgrades in the item pool. It's not been adjusted to say that those aren't acquirable in the pool. You just purchase them now.
Yeah, I believe that Venus came back with V31, so that would make sense in that regard. Now, Orange with the cane is going to make his Meyer play, joining Ravis in what is going to be a fun Vitreous fight, if you're a masochist.
Yeah, they don't have the advantage of having acquired the Cane of Berna off the Ether tablet, so takes away that defensive option. So they're going to have to be just very, very careful and patient. I know they've got tons of potions, so as long as they don't make any hasty or reckless plays, they should be okay here.
And that would explain why Orange picked up some arrows as well, because Vitreous is very easy to soften up with a few shots from a bow. Of course, you can also throw bombs at the eyeballs to soften them up as well. Bombs will do Master Sword damage to Vitreous' little peepers.
Yeah, I think each of the small eyes is 3 regular arrows, I want to say. So I think if you've upgraded your arrow capacity to 40, that gives you enough to take down the entire boss with just the bow.
And a little bit of show of why I said, hey, we're happy to see the bug net. Ravis has bagged himself a fairy before this boss fight.
It's a fantastic option.
And what I find interesting is he's picked up the hammer.
You just going for the berserk strats, taking the damage, trying to just damage race here.
Now you do have a few seconds of invulnerability here. At the very end of this fairy revival cycle, you get a good few seconds of iframes. So this is going to allow him to go ahead and do some NMG spin strats. Of course, money absolutely not an object in this mode because of all your hearts, swords, etc. being replaced with green 20s. So despite having bought a number of blue potions already, you see Ravis is still sitting on 800 rupees.
Oh yeah, he's leveraging those to great effect here. He says, I have the money. It doesn't take that much more time to go get more potions after this. May as well just do this fight fast.
And Orange giving us a little show of the other door state extension glitch that is legal at NMG Racing, taking advantage of a about face dash while still on that door state to clip right through a rail.
Yep, same sort of technology that makes the icebreaker possible. He'll get his 10 bomb pickup out of the big chest and be soon on the way to victories as well.
Now Logic going through Palace of Darkness, just as that dark maze to show us, hey, there's some items here we might want. And now Bacon done with Ice Palace is back in Mire with the cane in hand now.
Should be a relatively quick trip through the dungeon. I'd imagine he got every check possible before bailing out the first time, so it should be straight to the back.
So Ravis is now in systematic search and destroy mode with the crystals, but after this, he's going to be on a Bombos hunt. And that Bombos can be anywhere. We know where it is, he doesn't.
Yep, still needs to make his way down to the Maiden Chest in Thieves Town. That'll be his go mode item.
All right, more of that rando tech is Orange showing us what can happen if you abuse altitude variables and shoot the fire rod.
Spooky action at a distance, what we call that. The basic of that is that you have an incorrect altitude variable because of the duck modifying it that modifies the position of the damage aura around the fire rod projectile. It basically goes a ways north, and it disjoints, and you can hit switches with it. Yeah, indeed, we do see Orange using the upgraded arrow capacity to great effect here, finishing off victories with just 3 arrows remaining.
All right. Down goes possibly one of the hardest bosses to fight in this mode, because Vitrius hurts a lot. If you didn't notice, I think it was either 3 or 4 hearts of damage that an eyeball did.
I believe it's 3 on Greenmail. It's a lot. You can't take very many hits from them.
And Bacon's going to employ the same strategy here. Didn't upgrade their arrow capacity, so they're going to switch over to spins a little bit to make things more comfortable.
Looks like they're handling it well. I haven't seen any damage taken on their side. Logic is making their way to the back of Skullwood, Fire Rod in tow.
And so too will Orange. So at this point, you gotta say it, right? Flippers have to be in Turtle Rock.
Where else could they be?
Mimic Cave.
Some people will just call that part of Turtle Rock, but yes, if you're playing Z3R Sim, it's just part of Turtle Rock. That confused me the first couple times. I was like, wait a second, why are there 6 items in TR? Oh, Mimic Cave, oh yeah.
See, the one thing with that is that the flippers would be locked by a mirror in that case. That's interesting for the logic, because that would also mean you have to do TR before you do Mire.
Yeah, that is an interesting progression expectation there. Not impossible.
Alright, now Logic with Master Sword and Fire Rod. Gonna dust off a moth here.
Have some trouble with the spikes. Gonna take the safety heal. The moth's beams will do, I believe, 2 hearts of damage on Greenmill, so that is a good safe play.
And the big red bomb showing up on Bacon's screen. That means he's going to have an Ice Rod in just a moment with everything else done but TR.
Yep. Once he'll be in the same situation as Ravis, just looking for that Bombos medallion in the maiden chest of Turtle, or not Turtle Rock, Thieves Town.
And Orange and Logic dispatching Mothula, Ravis taking care of a kind of unkind set of patterns from Lamulus, but nonetheless, Half Magic Fire Rod does that very handily.
Logic's going to check the pedestal while we're here. Just couch cash. Move right along.
So Ravis, interesting here, he's going to pick up a mirror, and I think at this point he's going to start prioritizing mirror checks.
One slash at the chest, just one.
That's a weird situation to be in. You know, you don't have your flippers to go into Swamp Palace, so that's off the table. You've done everything in Pod but Helma. So now finding an item that was available in Sphere 1 like the mirror, that is a bad feeling kind of bait.
Yeah, it makes you wonder a lot about what you may have missed. They're making a good choice of going right to checkerboard. We know the boots are there. Despite not needing them, they'll be no doubt happy to have them. Bacon and Orange both towing their... well, Bacon's already done it, but Orange is towing their big bomb up to the pyramid, going to get their Ice Rod, and actually Orange, I believe, will be our first into actual go mode. Everyone else will end up hunting for that Bombos medallion. Ravis now has the boots. The boots do unlock a few checks for them. They're not going to find what they're looking for, unfortunately. But at least they can get to them fast now.
And at 1:11 and 44 seconds, Orange is our first runner officially in go mode.
And we've got free green potions in the pyramid fairy as well.
And no way to really utilize them on Ganon.
Yeah, unless we get lucky and see a cape somewhere, that's or unless yeah, he doesn't have any reason to check the ether tablet. He's in go mode. Yeah, a lucky cape would be the only way that really ends up being useful.
All right, as we have crossed the hour mark and we're having Orange approach the last dungeon that we need to clear here, just a reminder, give these runners a follow, because their suffering is our joy, even in modes like this. I mean, let's be honest here. We all put ourselves up to this when we rolled for expert item pool, right, Adalor?
We did. We of course, as the commentators, get to sit back and relax and not have to worry about having to deal with it ourselves. We can enjoy all the fortune and misfortune they're going through. And speaking of ourselves, we've got the commentator and tracker info in chat. Give anyone you like a follow. Myself, Adalor, my co-com Zaruvian. Our trackers today are Valady and Etanar. All great people willing to volunteer and put on a good show for everyone tonight. And just in case anyone is just getting here and wondering what the heck is going on, we've got ourselves a pretty regular 7-7 open, except for the fact that we are in expert item pool. And what that means is that our runners are capped at 8 hearts, green mail, 1 bow, so no silvers, and master sword, and fighter shield. Everything else that is in the pool that was those items is now turned into green 20s.
And there's Orange walking into Turtle Rock.
Orange is definitely our leader here at this point. They've been the first to achieve actual go mode.
Yeah, right now for Bacon and Ravis, it's where is the Bombos medallion?
And as we thought, Ravis is indeed find those boots and realize I need to chase all these boots checks. We know they've already skipped it.
And that's the purple chest for Bacon.
It is like I said, though. Green Pendant, Thieves Town, and I have this relationship. If I see green thieves, I full clear that dungeon. So, there you go.
I'm seeing a shout out for flippers in chat.
It was Magic Bat having the flippers. Wow. Okay.
And where did the powder show up, trackers? Anybody?
I do not remember where the powder was.
How long has that been available?
They were in pod. Okay. So yes, that is unfortunate because we do not want to see those flippers. That gives access to Swamp Palace, and we know nothing is in there that these runners need to complete the game.
Orange gets bitten by a chain chomp. Ooh, just went straight for him, too.
As I like to say, the metal doggos play hard.
And I see Ravis continuing to chase the mirror.
Nice thing about having powder, though, Thieves Town. Turtle Rock has a ton of anti-fairies littered all over the place. It's very easy to replenish your fairies once you've used them.
And so Logic is in their Cold Stare fight, and Cold Stare is, oh boy.
Oh, that's a situation. Oh no. See, this is a good time when you can actually kind of pause buffer and give yourself like a moment to think, how do I get out of this triangle of doom here?
And not just even that, but gets out of it and starts spraying that fire rod, which Cold Stare we know is very much allergic to.
And yes, just to confirm, we are indeed, is this only expert pool, not functionality. So our potions are at full effectiveness, no diminished usage of the boomerang and hook shots. Yeah, just a pool.
I'm going to be completely honest with you, Chad. I don't know how many people will be willing to play expert, but I know I wouldn't.
I could put up with it, but I sure wouldn't like it.
Expert functionality is fun for those first few minutes that you have it. Because, you go check Ice Rod Cave and you're thinking, oh, I've got the hook shot. I can stun this crab, and then tink. And suddenly you're dead. Oh, yeah, this is not good look on the top half of the screen. Bacon has bitten on the flippers into Swamp, and Ravis is about to get his.
This is very, very unfortunate.
It's not even just that. He's routed all the way that he can go straight to Swamp Palace if he so chooses.
Yep, we got the purple chest. That's just right near where you're going to be.
Now, both of them did step into the front of Thieves Town, found 2 items, and said, nah, don't want any more of that. Unfortunately, the runner that did go through the rest of Thieves Town, that was Orange, found Bombos in the Maiden's chest.
Logic is taking their big bomb to the pyramid. We're going to see them pick up their ice rod in short order here. And then they'll be on the hunt with our other 2, Ravis and Bacon.
Getting some hammer Trinex from Orange.
Yep, that's, I think, pretty typical here compared to Master Sword. I think it takes, if you're using minimal magic, it takes 10 hits to each head, I believe. Whereas the hammer, since it deals tempered sword damage, you can get away with 5 hits. And then 2 rod shots for each head.
Now with one head down, you can focus on the other one and just make sure you're dodging Trinex when he sticks his neck out to bite you.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get nipped by that turtle. I want to say it's 4 hearts of damage on green mail. It's a lot.
Of course, in the vanilla parts of the game, you would find Blue Mail and Ice Palace. Of course, in the NMG speedrun, a lot of runners might opt not to pick that up. Of course, males are not progressive in the game. So they would opt to grab the green mail at Against Tower, possibly.
Yeah, at least with NMG, you have the heart containers are forced upon you by the boss drop, so you would have 12 hearts at Trinex, I think.
Hey, Adalords, everyone's favorite time.
It is time. We will not have the game in chat, of course, because this is a daily race, and those end up only being played for 1v1s, but we can play all the same. We're going up to Ganon's Tower. There is a big key in Ganon's Tower. We're going to need it to get to the top. There are 22 locations where that big key can be. Get your guesses in. A number between 1 and 22. Could be as early as the first chest and hope room, could be as late as the tile room.
And that was a 4-heart hug from a Lionel. They're not quite as, Logic is going for a splash delete here.
Ooh, interesting idea.
And,
I'm admittedly not familiar with this specific one here myself, so I'm not sure what exactly they're not getting about it.
the first couple times, the first time the bombs were in the water, the second time the first arrow despawned because of how far it was away. But there it is. Logic is going to sequence break their flute. They're not going to find flippers unless they go to Magic Bat.
And that does give them another dungeon to do. They can get into Mire now, so that's it's helpful for sure.
Right, see orange mirroring out, so we'll see at least partial Dark Magician's tracks coming on here. That's right, Logic never went to Zora, so while they're in the water walk state, they're going to take advantage of this and give a donation to the Save the Fish Foundation, as Ravis shows us our 4th bottle.
Also pre-filled with green, that is indeed all 4. Looks like they're going to opt out of left side swamp and go right to the back. I think when you're 1 item from go mode, I'm all right with this play. The back chests are a little faster to check compared to the extra minute or so it takes to get through the left side to get to just the 2.
And the 1 frame left side diver down with the cane there from Ravis. Not something you see very often.
It has the potential to be the fastest method if you can pull it off efficiently. It's a little bit trickier because it does indeed require a 1 frame downward tap, and then you have to hit an up. It's easiest to buffer the up left to get actually wiggled into the right position.
And orange got killed by something. And they are going the full Dark Magician here.
Oh, it looked like a fall and took the damage and died at the entrance of the room. Yeah. Went full right. Interesting idea. Interesting option here.
Yeah, this room is not a lot of fun if you don't have a safety item.
It really isn't. That room is it's bad. It's terrible. Nobody likes it. It might be the reason nobody does full right. But who knows? Maybe the the key will be in Bob's chest or behind Arsarmos, and this will be the way to get to it.
And you heard that Ice Rod spray from Ravis.
One of the streamers I frequently watch, they like to do full right, and they'll say, "I'm going to go full right." It's never full right. And I have not yet seen them do full right and have it be the correct option. So I'm willing to believe them.
How about vanilla? How does that tickle you?
With 2 green 20s behind it. Not sure. I mean, he's still hoping for like a cape or something. But yeah, that's going to be our vanilla big key indeed.
And that would be check number 13, if my math is correct.
Yeah, 'cause he went to a DM room first, correct?
Yes, he did. That was the full Dark Magician. And a Burna for Bacon.
I'm so inundated with the terminology we use that you said bacon, and I was like, wait a second, this is expert pool.
No bacon swords to be found on this one. As Logic now making their way to Misery Mire, they only have 2 hearts right now.
Yeah, they can at least get inside and take a death in the lobby or the opening room to get a health reset. I think they'll start him out with 5 hearts.
I'll take a moment here to shout out Raspberries, as they were the closest to guess in our GT Big Key guessing game with a 12.
You win an internet.
Just one internet, though. You can't have them all.
Yeah, we don't have the bot running, so we can't distribute proper amounts of internets. We'll just go with the safe amount of 1.
Oh, I stand corrected. We did had Heartless are for even, guessing 13 as well. 12, 13.
Well, we've already given out the internet, so you two will have to fight over it or share.
We can all share the internet, right? I love the wording used for that. I bequeath you my falsely awarded internet. I don't know, man. I just play randomizer. Those are big words for me.
All right, so Orange is in our Lambo 2 fight, still climbing the tower. Everyone else is looking for their Bombus Medallion, which once again, Floppy Bacon is in the right zone for it. They just need to get down to the Maiden Chest in Thieves Town, and they will be in go mode.
I have an idea. Instead of giving them an internet, why can't we just give them 1 arrow?
But there's only 1 arrow.
Well, it's not even a silver arrow, so why is it my favorite item?
I think only you can tell us that, Zaru.
All right, Ravis is pretty much done with this GT climb. And, not Ravis, Orange. Ravis is done with Swamp Palace and has not found what he was looking for. But I would believe that Bacon has. Oh, did Bacon go left to the big chest first? Oh boy.
Looks like it, yeah. Taking a little bit of extra time, but they're going to get their Bombus Medallion. We may not see it exactly, but we'll know they get it, and they will be in go mode at right around around an hour 27:55, somewhere in that range.
Yep, you see the mirror out. He's gone.
And that will let him get into Turtle Rock, last dungeon.
Ooh, Moldorm says, not today to Orange.
Moldorm says, you're too far ahead of these other people. Let's let them catch up a little bit. Granted, I think that would take a bunch more falls, but yeah.
Moldorm, the ultimate gatekeeper. You know, stuff like getting turn knocked off like that is why I tend to prefer having the hammer out, even with a Master Sword in hand.
Yeah, I do prefer the hammer myself. Last chest of the game, just 1 more big 20. So Orange will have checked a bunch as much as he could and did not find any sort of defensive item. I'm going to be going into Master Sword Silverless with no invulnerability option.
So it'll be interesting to see, because there are a number of different strategies one may employ out there to fight with Ganon without any safeties, with only 8 hearts, with just a Master Sword. What do you think Orange is going to do here?
I'd expect we'll see some triples out of him, probably. I wouldn't doubt that Orange would at least go for triples. If the ladder rankings or anything go by, he's one of our more experienced runners here.
And Bacon blows open Turtle Rock. Logic is going to have a date with Vitreous. And Ravis, in just about 30 seconds, will have finally found his Bombos coin and will be in go mode.
I'm going to guess about half a dozen frustration slashes here.
If it's me, I would just lay a bomb on it. He's preparing for the worst here. There it is.
Nope, no time for rage. Gotta go. Got a world to save.
Orange getting the very nice set from Ganon, putting themselves right one tile from the wall to get a couple double spins in.
Yep, you need 12 Master Sword spins in each of Phase 1 and Phase 2, and those doubles against the wall make it all the more faster. This top right corner is the greatest position. You get in here, you can get usually 3 or 4 double spins off if you're really tight on the timing. Doesn't look like he quite got there. Yeah, we're in Phase 2. Yes.
And
Another
with that
top
pattern
right.
again,
Nice.
that should do it. All he has to do now is not get hit. Which is no problem when you have the hook shot.
Yep, that hook shot gives you invulnerability for as long as it's out.
So in Master Sword Silverless, that is by far the hardest part of the Ganon fight. Because all those things that happen on the screen there, they hurt a bunch in Expert.
Yep, at
From
this point,
here-
we need to get one spin each for the 4 parts of Phase 3, and then we'll be on to Phase 4, which is going to take 24 well-timed spin slashes with the Master Sword to take down Ganon. And in case you weren't aware, the silver arrows today are on planet Zebes.
Unfortunately, at this point in the time of Hyrule, science has not yet developed interplanetary travel, so it's not on the table for us.
Yep, we do indeed see Orange going for triples, so it's a very kind of specific timing of lighting the torch when Ganon is right at the end of his teleport, and you can get 3 spin slashes in per torch lighting, which saves you some magic, and it's a little bit faster overall.
Meanwhile, Bacon here is on his way through Turtle Rock, bypassing the big chest, as Orange did.
The most common play for Goma TR is to steal the key from the Pokey and skip the big chest, and in this case, I believe Orange did the same thing and it worked out just fine.
And sometimes it doesn't. Even if you steal the key, if you don't see another key before Laser Bridge, you could get in a pretty bad spot.
Yeah, there's about a 5% chance that the key logic for Turtle Rock does not work out, and then you have to backtrack to find it in the big chest.
And of course, sometimes you want to do the big chest anyway if you don't want to bother with Laser Bridge at all. Just have that guarantee that if the second key is there, you'll have it. But unfortunately, that's not on the table for Orange. He is done with the big pig. And let's see some GGs in chat for a strong finish in this expert item pool seed.
And he is indeed done. We have an official time on our racetime.gg page of 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 58 seconds. Well done.
And that is Orange joining us here in the commentary chat. GG.
GG.
All right, friend. Thoughts on that one?
I was really hoping to find the cave with those chests I was opening.
Yeah, we could see you opening everything on the way, just really hoping for it. Thankfully, you didn't end up needing it, but I completely understand.
Well, nothing like doing Ganon on half a heart just to spice things up.
I mean, you made it look good. You hit most of your triples. Didn't have to worry about dying. Obviously not to worry about. You didn't show us that even dying on Ganon is the thing you're worried about. Like, not even a problem.
I think that could have gone a whole lot worse.
And the thing is, it always can. No safety items going into Ganon. You did have a fairy in a bottle just waiting there, so you were in pretty good shape.
I also still had my blue potion.
Was that the original blue potion that came in that bottle?
Yep, never used it.
We'll just consider that a confidence boost, and there you go.
So a lot of progression turning up in pendant dungeons in this seed. What made you think about going to the back of Thieves Town? Was it the fact that it was green pendant, or the fact that you only saw half your items in the front?
I have a general rule of thumb with Thieves Town. If there's at least 3 items in the back, and that's counting the green pendant, I'm gonna full clear it.
You and I both. Like I've said a couple times, Green Thieves in particular, that dungeon I have a relationship, and that it gets full cleared no matter what. But yeah, 2 items in the front makes for indeed 3 in the back with a +1 value. And interestingly enough, you were the only one who went for it right off the bat.
Man, was I relieved that bombos that was in the back ended up being required.
Yeah, definitely good that you just went right for it and got that. So it ended up being for Turtle Rock. We had, I think, 2 bailouts halfway in Thieves Town, and 1 that just didn't get to Thieves Town until pretty late. I think that's what it was. I think actually Logic is the one who, I'm not sure if he's been in there at all yet.
Oh dear.
So Orange, if you had to guess on where the flippers are, where would you say they are?
Let's see. Mitts were in Hype Cave, right?
Correct, yeah.
Dark Death Mountain.
Would you believe Magic Bet?
I would, actually.
So
Yeah, we didn't see those flippers for a while.
And I don't normally do that Fate Flipper thing, but if the seed is going to give me Moon Pearl and 600 rupees right off the bat...
It's kind of hard not to, yeah.
And if I'm going to commit to last locating escape, you know...
Yeah, I mean, it worked out.
So one thing that did for you is, since you went into Thieves Town and found Bombos, never found the flippers, the one pendant dungeon that had nothing more than a bottle for us was Swamp.
And because I found that flute, I was like, I'm not going into Swamp even if I do find the flippers, because the way I was thinking was that, okay, so flippers are obviously just locking the flute. That's probably the only thing it's locking, so I was never going to go into Swamp unless I was last locating.
Yep,
I mean, technically I needed it for Ice Palace, but we have Fate Flipper.
Yeah, nobody really needs flippers to get into ice. But yeah, no, they ended up being worked out perfectly in your favor, yeah.
So the only other thing I can think to ask you is, when it comes to difficulty modifiers, what are your thoughts on things such as the expert item pool?
Intimidating, but this didn't end up being very bad.
Seeing the 3 crystal light world to start, actually, this is almost the thing you want to see, because you know now the more difficult half of the game is not quite so, but you still ended up having to do dungeons 5, 6, and 7, the most painful of the game.
And the one I was the most worried about was actually Meyer. That was actually why I bought those 2 stacks of arrows from the upgrade fairy, and sure enough, I needed almost all of them.
Yeah, you finished the victorious fight with just 3 arrows remaining, and we were noticing that too. That then, yeah, 'cause if you have a bow, you can buy more arrows. Like you can finish that fight off entirely with arrows. It's not a bad option in settings like this.
I
I
figured
just-
that was going to be my best option because I still had not found the cape in, and since this was expert item pool, I definitely was not getting tempered or silvers.
Yeah, and the Cane of Burna was available. That was sitting up on the Ether tablet.
I think I still would have done the arrow thing.
I see Ravis showing off a little bit, getting the Samaria bounces.
Played a little kick ball, or kick block, as we would say here. Ooh, that's another thing I thought of.
The
Do you
full
go-
right, yeah.
Yeah. Do you go full right often?
I usually do Dark Magician, but if I'm gonna do Dark Magician, I'm doing the whole thing.
So that's left, then full right. That's not something you see every day.
No, especially because that one room, that bridge room, is just a real pain. But yeah, it worked out for you.
Yeah, I kind of showed why you kind of needed invulnerability for that bridge room.
It's really tricky with that one. You pretty much have to get some damage boost through the fire bars and manage your knockback well. We see Ravis on the more traditional full left path. They will be eventually getting down to their Ice Armos fight and finding the Vanilla Big Key. Logic is opening up Turtle Rock, has their Bombus Medallion, and Floppy Bacon is working on their GT Gauntlet.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what path Logic chooses to go through GT. As we've seen a full DM, and we've seen the left, right, and we didn't see. I didn't catch what Bacon did on his side.
I did not either, no.
Yeah. You have any other thoughts for us, Orange?
Has anyone found the cape?
No, sir. The cape has still gone missing. No one has seen it. And I'd be willing to bet we're not going to see it.
I would
What a
hazard
shame.
I'd hazard a guess and say it's probably Laser Bridge, honestly. We've seen almost every other location checked.
Alright, here is Ice Armos for Ravis, about to find a Vanilla Big Key behind that door, but first gets to skate around with these knights a little bit.
Looks like, according to chat, oh no, Floppy may have had a game crash. Yeah, he's down to 6 crystals again. Oh no.
Oh, in this modern day age of technology, that is probably one of the last things you want to see happen in a race.
Yeah, that is really, really unfortunate to see.
Yeah, and with that, no one can blame you for doing it, because that's the amount of time that you put into going back through Turtle Rock and going back through GT. Bacon has given us a forfeit, but let's give some GGs because he stuck it all the way. He was about to get to Aga 2 when that happened.
Yeah, he was definitely our next up, at least on our reteam here to finish off. He was doing a very good job of that. So very, very well played. GG's up to that point.
So, of course, right now we do have Ravis making quick work of the gauntlet here, pulling out the hammer to take care of that extra Zazek. Yeah.
With the half magic, you see a lot of really good usefulness out of the fire rod in the gauntlet. And actually, off the race stream, we have our second finish, according to race time here. Demo has finished with a time of 1:45.42. So Ravis is hunting, looking to be our third place finisher at this point. Assuming they don't get that sniped out by one of our other runners not on the restream. We did have a crowd of just 7, so it's fairly likely they'll be able to claim third place here. Expert pool, not something everyone wants to play, so I understand it being a bit of a diminished crowd.
Yeah, Bacon is joining us in the stream chat. That doesn't feel very good. I'm sorry. I would hate for that to happen to me. But yeah, GG's. You made that look pretty good. And again, all these runners are going through it's in the game's purest form, taking away all of the safety and all of the heart containers. It's hard. So for them to be so willing to jump through this, give them a follow. See what else they can do.
I wouldn't say all the safeties, but yeah, they at least do have powder and bug net. They've been able to bottle fairies for most of this game, which has kept them able to take deaths and not be phased by it. But yeah, 8 hearts, green mail, master sword. It's a tough game. Ravis is going to go in for saving every second possible. We're going to skip that validation chest. We know it's just a great big 20. They're not missing out on anything important.
And now it's his turn for Aghanim 2 as Logic pulls out the hammer. It is going to give Trinex a pounding.
I think we had some pretty good Aga 2 patterns here, actually. Ooh, just off of getting a double or a potential triple there. That looked good there, yeah. Yeah, there's some really favorable agonometry patterns. Except for that blue ball.
Oh, Logic, you just barely dodged that second spread of ice, followed by the second nip from Trinex. Close, close. Oh,
ooh.
I had to say something, didn't I? Yeah, I think at this point everyone's pretty much wizened up to the Yeah, I should probably grab some fairies, shouldn't I?
Yeah, it's impossible to keep track of how many they have because they've all got 3 or 4 bottles, and they've been bottling fairies this whole way. I'm not even like, oh, they died. They probably have a fairy. It's almost guaranteed at this point.
Just misses the spin on Trinex as Ravis is in his Ganon fight. Yeah, and I think actually that fairy might have been the one that Logic got in Thieves Town, since we went to that dungeon relatively on the late side.
It's actually having a tricky time. That ice floor is kind of restricted his area. Looks like he's got the rhythm down now. You got a nice kind of elliptical pattern going here. Just a couple more hammer hits should do it.
Yeah, even with that limited range of movement, Logic is able to use what's left of the arena and just
There we
stay
go.
out of the spikes, and Trinex is down for Logic.
It's a very patient fight in that sort of situation, but good job to Logic for getting through it.
Now, Ravis has passed phase 2 of Ganon, so after these few spins, it's just going to be him. Why would you select the bow?
That's not going to help you here. Nope. Probably just instinct muscle
Ooh,
memory. Got to
boy.
go to the bow. No.
And
Not
that
this
last
time.
wave from the fire bats always gets me, too.
Yeah, because you think it's done, but it's always got that one more circle.
Well, that is not a good spot for Ganon to be if you want the torch glitch. Oh, and he gets it. So again, this is 24 spins, and unless Ravis has another fairy chilling out in a bottle, he can't take a hit from anything here.
A little bit late on the triple timing there, but he does clearly know the timing of the torch for the triples here.
And folks, we do have Floppy Bacon deciding to unforfeit, as he already has all the progress knowledge that he could have to finish the seed anyway. He's going to possibly see it through.
And Logic has opted to mirror out after the DM room. We may very well see, if we see the full right play, that'll save him a little bit of time.
Oh, and Ravis is in rhythm now with the triples. So this will be over very soon.
Oh yeah, he's nailing it. It always feels really good when you get into that proper rhythm and you get the timing on every triple down, no problem. And that is an exploding pig. GG to Ravis. We'll get an official time in just a moment here. Nice mid-air freeze frame.
I can't say I've seen that victory pose before.
Nor have I.
All right, and that
Ravis will come in third place on racetime.gg, official time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, 31 seconds. And we've got him in the booth here. GG to you, Ravis.
GG's.
All right, Ravis. What's your thoughts on Thieves Town for this seed?
Bad. Bad.
Just
Simply
bad?
It's not Thieves Town, to be honest. It's Bombos. I hate this item. It's my freaking most hated item. It cost me so many races.
Not even just any medallion, specifically Bombos.
Specifically Bombos, yes. Bombos, and I are at war for around 1.5 years, I think. Yeah, I mean, Sucks. I don't know. That mirror location was super bad. Those boots were super bad. Flippers is not what I wanted to see, obviously. And when you get them, you know, I had only back of Thieves Town and Swamp left, and I assume this. If people go back Thieves Town, I lost anyway. Like, I did play well generally, for at least for my standards, and there were some ups and downs, but in the end, okay, whatever.
See, outside of that play, is there any moment in particular in this seed that kind of stuck out to you, like an area or something that you might have been happy to have done?
No, I was super happy to find the flute early on, and with the hammer, I was like, okay, we're probably getting glove somewhere early, so I wait with Easter, and I wanted to combine that with pot, but as soon as I got into the Dark World, I saw Pen and Pot. I was like, come on, game. Even Pen and Swamp, I might not even see the mirror, and then when I was ready to go into Thieves Town, then I find the mirror and the boots, and then I find make all the mirror checks and stuff, with the thought of, well, flippers can't be behind boots and stuff, and flute, because flute was in Waterfall Ferry. So before I make checks just to get the flippers, I was like, play ahead and try to find bombos behind the flippers technically, but didn't work out.
Yeah, those items ended up being unfortunately a giant distraction.
Yeah, I mean, that's rando. That's how 2020 is currently. It's nothing new to me.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't blame you, because those were the mirror in particular available very early in the logic. It's I don't blame you one bit for chasing those out. That's how rando goes.
Yeah, I mean, leaving 3 items in Thieves Town is kind of but I wanted to even save and quit after the hype cave. Like, I really wanted to go on the mountain, and I had this. The thing with the Village of Outcasts is, like, when you're there, it feels like you're making a check and you want to save and quit, but there's another check. It's close, and it's going on like this, and it's costing time. It's so ridiculous. But if you skip something there, you most likely will not come back. And that's what happened to me. Even mistracked at the start. I thought it's Green Pendant Swamp, actually. So I thought it's like 6 items plus Green Pendant versus 3 items in Thieves Town. And when I fought Argus, I was like, oh, that's not the Green Pendant. Okay.
Oh no! So you thought there was extra value at a swamp? Okay.
Yeah, but still, I mean, even if it's not Green Pendant, it's like 6 versus 4 items, so technically still the better play.
Yeah, in
And
terms of density, yeah.
According to the items I got, I checked everything besides Thieves Town, so it had to be Swamp for me, basically, to actually have a chance.
Yeah, and that's generally the correct racing play to make. If you bail out on something, you want to stick to your guns, and because if you go back for it, then any potential time you could have gained from that bailout is lost. So yeah, I mean that seems like the correct play to make from a racing standpoint.
I mean, you're getting the fire, you're finding nothing in Ice Palace, which obviously I do first, since I don't want to see the flippers at all, and I obviously want to check every flipper location before I have to go to Swamp at some point, so I can skip the flippers as hard as I could, and the Ice Rod felt pretty good as well. But well, Bombos is in, at least it feels like Sphere Zero. It's not Sphere Zero, obviously, but feels like it. Thieves Town back. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. You were the first to veer in on the Ice Rod, I believe, though. So I think you made that move right as soon as it was available, and that paid off.
Yeah. Well, when I saw the Fire Rod, I knew exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do Ice. I'm gonna do Skull Woods, and if I don't find anything, let's go Pyramid Ferry. That was obvious for me, the most obvious play to do, because again, you don't want to find the flippers at all. Like, you really, really don't want them, because what do you want them for? Like Pendant Swamp, please. Nobody likes to go into Pendant Swamp.
No, we don't want it.
Yeah.
But no, that was definitely a perfect logic read from the Ice Palace into Skull Woods right to Pyramid Ferry. That nailed it.
Yeah, and I even prefer going to Ice instead of Skull Woods, since with the Icebreaker, Ice Palace was, well, actually it was kind of the same as Gomad, because we got all the keys and items we needed on the way we could safely check the big chest and say, okay, I got all 3 items and the big key. I got small keys. I can just go the way. So it didn't even need to go to iced tea room or thinking about maybe leaving an item there and immediately going to the boss. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, you had a pretty ideal route. Just kind of led you down the way you like to go without having to make that detour, and then also the switchless route worked out too.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks to have the worst GT route done once in a lifetime and again getting punished, well, not like once but twice or 3 times, and once again getting punished for it. I actually dislike this left play, but I don't know. I thought Orange finished pretty early, so I thought it might have been an early big key somewhere. But
Yeah,
no.
we saw the full right from Orange, which ended up being a good play to make.
Nice one. Yeah, I wanted to go Dark Magician, but without any invincibility item, I didn't want to go the right side through. I could have taken the burner from Ether Tablet, but I figured that's not really worth it to mirror, and then just to get the burner to eventually go right side GT. So no.
Yeah, that one room which you really like to have invincibility for. Yeah. I've been finding the DM or even the Pink Magician routes working out in my favor more often than not lately, so I've kind of taken a liking to them personally.
I personally still favor the render room rush into full right if you have an invincibility item. But well, that would have been slow as well.
Logic actually took a death was he in the climb? I'm not sure exactly where he was there.
Yeah, he was in the climb. I want to say he was in... Yeah, he was in Gauntlet 4. Orange is letting us know in chat.
Yeah, it was not too far past the bouncy spike room. Yeah.
He didn't have a lot of luck, though, either. He tried twice. He tried to get Josh Fairies, and he tried to hit a bunny beam at one point. And on both times, the body just said, okay, I'll have the fairy. No bottle for me.
Oh, I have a question, by the way. Did Mothula drop the silver arrows, which we couldn't use?
Yes, that and I noticed that. It was like, that's a nice tease by this one, showing us that Moth did indeed have the other bow, which the sprite drops normally, but when you collect it, the code in the ROM kicks in and changes it to the green 20.
Oh, because I was like, wait a second, why can't I was going into Mire without any invincibility item. I was like, wait a minute, why don't I have silver arrows equipped? I'm sure I got them. And then I was like,
so that fooled you.
That's a really scary fight now. I would have preferred to actually take the burner with the half magic. And then I was like, dude, I probably need to do hammer strats, and then I failed pretty hard. And then I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be close. I need arrows pretty early on, and then I was really, really struggling in the fight, and I mean it worked in the end, that's okay. So
yeah, you got through it at least.
So I'll ask you the same question I asked Orange. If you had to take a guess at where the cape was going to be, where do you think it is?
It must have been in Thieves Town or in GT or Green Pendant. There's nothing left.
It was not.
It was none of
full
these
cleared
things.
Thieves Town.
It must be Green Pendant.
The Green Pendant
I turned it in.
Was the single arrow.
Oh, then it's probably Big Chest and GT or something, or Upstairs GT or something like that. Or
It
even
had to
maybe
have been
behind
either.
Ice.
It had-
maybe Ice Armors behind the 2 chests behind that.
I checked those two looking for cape.
So yeah, then it's either Big Chest. Tile Room could be a thing for me.
It was either in GT Big Chest, GT Tile Room, Mimic Cape, or Laser Bridge.
Right, it could have been Laser Bridge. Or
Because
even
we
GT.
didn't have to do Laser Bridge.
Did you do TR Big Chest? Or
No,
Vanilla
I
Big
skipped
Chest?
that.
It's still that. So those two could be still.
Oh yeah, I didn't do
yeah.
TR Big Chest either.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling when you go through the rest of Turtle Rock and you just swipe the Poke Key and then go right past the big chest. And if you're playing a mode that is an expert and you have silvers available, the last thing you want to see is, did you find the silvers in Turtle Rock?
Don't remind me, Zaro. I skipped that very recently. Silver's on Lava Chest. I still won that race, but I was like, oh man, they were right there.
So yeah, expert item pool, Ravis, what are your thoughts on the difficulty that this adds to a rando race here?
I mean, it's nothing new for me, but it's, yeah. I mean, I like it. Although, when I was at Ganon Phase 4 and he said, you know, did you find the silver arrows on Planet Zavis? I was rethinking how I routed, and I cleared so much. I'm pretty sure I've been on Planet Zavis at the long way I did. So, I don't know. No, but in general, I think Expert is a cool thing to have. It makes the game. You still have to be cautious in some way. You can't be as aggressive like when you have like blue or even red mail and 13 hearts. You can, don't care about opponents on your way and stuff, and just like knock them down. Or if you get hit, okay, you start your dash again. But when you have only 8 hearts and everybody is doing like 2 hearts of damage, you have to be more aware of what you're doing exactly. And I like it.
It certainly is a punishing mode to play, but when you know what you're doing, it's really not so bad.
Can I say
I
one
mean-
thing?
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that bug net.
That's what I actually wanted to say. I mean, it is expert item pool, but really expert has to be usually played with item functionality expert as well. That's what it actually makes expert, when suddenly your potions don't heal you anymore, you're not getting any fairies, and you're additionally low on hearts. That's when it's get really interesting.
And I'll say, when we first saw the bug net early, Edilor and I are like, ooh, that's an item these runners absolutely are going to be glad to see for once.
Yeah. Exactly, and I mean, I used 2 fairies at Trinex, although I'm really curious once again about that Trinex had, what is it called? Hitbox. Because it's like, I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna get hit, but he still did, and okay, I take it. I had a fairy, fine. Better than if I hadn't. There are obviously some scary fights like holds there, but we had half magic, and we were pretty well equipped for expert seat, I would say.
Half magic does kind of remove a lot of the difficulty.
Yeah, when you have the option to half magic Fire Rod on both Mothula and Cold Stare, it just kind of it makes a bad situation a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I dislike using Fire Rod on Morphula. I'd rather take the hammer every time, since you just need half of the hits, and most of the time I'm confident enough with using the hammer, and didn't get punished today at least.
Speaking of using the hammer, that's Logic pulling the hammer out for Moldorm 2. So he is on his way to see Ganon, and Floppy Bacon is escaping the gauntlet here, about to do torches after Wizrobe 2. So they'll be joining us in a few moments.
Anyways, GG's guys. It's pretty late here, and I think I'm gonna take a nap. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the commentary. Thanks to chat. It wasn't a close race for first place, but hey, I think you got a good seed to watch, and at least you saw pretty much everything in the seed.
Yeah, all the goods and bads of it. GG Ravis, thank you for joining us, and thank you for opting to be on Restream today. Alright, Adalor, as we're nearing the closing stretch here, it's hope that we get some kind patterns for Logic on Aga2. Floppy Bacon's just a couple rooms behind Moldorm 2, so we're going to have a couple Ganon fights to look at before we're done here. And that is Aga2 out of the way for Logic. I didn't happen to catch, I think the fairies were still being a little bit rude to him on the way up the climb, so I'm not sure if he has one in a bottle or not.
Yeah, I didn't specifically catch either. I mean, obviously we can hope that he does, but hopefully those 4 hearts aren't the only 4 that he gets here. And there's always that option, like, because you can run down the pyramid if and bonk the left tree, which will also provide a fair. He might be taking that option, actually.
He might be going to get, I don't know, he's got the mirror. He might be going to get potions?
Maybe both, because he's walking all the way down there. Okay, yeah, it's just going to be a flute to the potion shop. That's okay.
Yeah, if you're going to powder either an anti-fairy or a bunny beam, then you kind of want to make sure you're not in the fairy's hitbox, because you kind of magnetically attract the fairy, and what you were trying to swing at.
Through the...
Yeah, that was 3 empty bottles for logic.
Yeah.
And that actually brings up an interesting point: is potions versus fairies on this expert mode Ganon fight.
I'd keep one fairy personally, just because a Ganon hug will end you no matter what. You don't want to touch the pig. It's just, if you find yourself in a weird position and you get just a little bit off, you move a little bit wrongly, like that could just, if you don't have a fairy, that's it.
And Bacon now in their Ganon fight, what we can see of it.
You could say that we will soon have Bacon making bacon.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to the store and buy that if he's making floppy bacon. And you see right there, the staff hit alone takes 4 of your hearts, so once again, not easy.
Yep, that's, like I said, why I like having a fairy at your disposal here, just in case, because you never know when you just make a wrong movement and something gets you, and then you have to start the whole fight over again.
There's all kinds of fun strategies you can take advantage of in this sort of fight too. Like that first staff. Oh no! I know he was going for it, and I think he realized that he wasn't going to get it in time.
Yeah, I think he paused like 1 or 2 frames away from taking it. It's like, I don't know if that's enough to get the potion out.
Luckily, the difference between 4 and 5 hearts is literally nothing here, so. Yeah, I was going to say there are a couple different ways you can tackle this phase 1 and 2 part of the Ganon fight. Obviously, if he gets 1 tile away from a wall or a corner, you can get your doubles in. I've seen some people try to tink off the first staff swing. They get stuck in place. I believe he actually managed it there, but he also took a hug from the staff.
Yeah, so you can do a spin between the trident and Ganon himself, like right after he throws it, and you can actually use the knockback to get a double hit.
There's another one you don't see as commonly used. If you actually lay down a Samaria block, it'll absorb all your recoil and you get stuck in one spot, so you can just stand there and spin. Very useful if you're in that Ring of Fire in Phase 2.
Yeah, that's it's very speedy if you can pull it off. It's the fastest way to take care of Ganon when you don't have Gold Sword. I think it's even useful. No, not quite for Tempered, because if you can get the Trident spin off, you can do the 1 cycle Tempered. But for Master Sword, yeah, the Samaria block placement works out very well. It's a bit tricky to pull off because the positioning is rather specific, and you have to manage your knockback as well with certain directional inputs. But if you can pull that off, it'll result in some very quick Master Sword Ganon times.
Whereas Logic, of course, right now is playing it pretty safe. Going to chug another bottle just to make sure that a Fire Bat doesn't end him. And Bacon is on Phase 4, so it's the 24 spins for him.
Logic opting to use the Cane of Burna to get through the last barrage of Fire Bats. Still took one right at the end. Dropped it just a little bit too soon. I'm sorry, he's actually still in Phase 2. I thought that was the last round.
Yeah, Logic being extra careful now. I believe they've used all their bottles. I could be wrong. And there is that artificial difficulty that this brings is, with 8 hearts maximum, a Fire Bat does 4 damage. The Trident does 4 damage. Ganon himself is pretty deadly. So you're basically, if you take one hit, you're basically in one hit KO, and that's not a comfortable situation to be in.
Yeah, it really isn't. You have to be super cautious with this fight the whole way through, because once you're down to 4, just like that, you get a little bit too close to the fire bat circle, and that'll be enough.
And he's going for it. He's going back in.
Yeah, he's going to drop back in for another attempt. I'm still a strong proponent here of going down the pyramid, bonking that left tree, and picking up a fairy. It is very much free in this situation.
And Logic is still being careful, which no one can really blame you for that. As stated, this is treacherous. So they'll take the single spin behind him for the double, and then get out of the way so that Trident doesn't just home in on him in the corner. Because there you have nowhere to escape.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck against the wall, but when that trident's coming at you. Looks like Floppy Bacon has managed all 24 spins silverless. He is going to be done after he crosses the Bridge of Perils.
And despite the controller woes, Floppy Bacon is going to finish, and he will take 4th place with a race time clock of 2:16:59.
GG's to Floppy Bacon, despite everything, finishing it out, getting a W against the pig. We'll see if we get him in here for an interview.
I'm not sure if he has voice capability. Floppy Bacon is back in the stream chat.
He isn't going to chat with us here. And it looks like Logic has taken another death on the fire bats and has opted to call it quits from here. So yeah, respectable effort nonetheless, getting all the way to Ganon in this very tough settings expert pool. So still GG's for making it as far as he did. It was honestly really close to finishing it out. So still very well played.
If Bacon has voice, we'd love to have them on for an interview. We'd love to have Logic on as well if they're willing, but I am not sure if they'll be available or not. We'll have to wait and see in just a second here. But yeah, GG's all 4 runners. This is not an easy game mode, and as you saw, there were some trips and stumbles along the way.
Yep, plenty of deaths to be had. Fortunately, plenty of fairies to go around. We had that powder for a while. The bug net came along too. So plenty of bottles, like 3 or 4 bottles for everyone. It was a good exercise in grab fairies all the time. Once again, you do see the links in chat for our 4 runners. We've got Ravis, Floppy Bacon, Logic, and Orange. Feel free to give all of those 4 a follow. They've done a great job with this tough seed, and as well our crew for this restream. Myself, my co-commentator Zaru. We've got our 2 trackers, Vilady and Etanar. Everyone's done a great job putting on this restream. Follows all around.
You pardon me for a moment. I am trying to reach out with Bacon to get them in here an interview, because I don't have his Discord handle as far as I can tell.
While we are seeing if we can arrange some more interviewing here, let's grab the schedule and see what tomorrow's daily looks like.
I think tomorrow was supposed to be open flute.
Yes, indeed, open flute. So tomorrow's daily for Friday, August 14th will be an open flute. So that's going to be a regular 7/7 open, but you're going to start with a flute. That'll make for some interesting routing. And that will be starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Speed Gaming 2. Which is where we are now on this very channel. I'm not sure at this point whether we're going to get interview at either of these. We may just end up closing it out and calling it a race here soon.
Yeah, I'm having an issue getting our invite put out. So, either way, GG Floppy Bacon, thank you for having us commentate for you and showing us your stuff on the restream. And again, also GG's to Logic.
Yeah, despite this being a tough expert pool settings, I think the seed itself was actually relatively all right. It gave us a few extra items to work with, and really not bad overall. Again, well played to all of our runners, both on stream and off, and good job for getting through it.
Alrighty, so we are going to wrap this up here for tonight. That'll do it for Speed Gaming 2 for today, this Thursday, the 13th of August. Thanks once again to my co-commentator Adalor, to Velity and Etnar, our trackers for the day, and of course, to the randomizer community, all of our friends over at the Link to the Past Randomizer Discord, the racetime.gg, and our Speed Gaming family.
Yeah, make sure you give a bunch of follows. We've got, again, our runner and crew links in chat. Follow all the Speed Gaming channels. You got twitch.tv/speedgaming and then Speed Gaming 2 through 6. There's a bunch of races going on all over the place. Make sure you don't miss any of the action. If you want to see the full schedule, you can go to speedgaming.org.
And with that, everyone out there have a good night.
Thanks for being here with us. We'll see you for the next one. Take care, everyone.